For the past half a century, an ancient army of warriors has been quietly conquering the world. Wherever small battalions of China's famous terracotta warriors are exhibited, they win over a new legion of fans.
Buried deep under a hill in central China lies one of the greatest wonders of the world.
This is the Terracotta Army. 8,000 warriors buried over 2,000 years ago. One of the greatest wonders of the world.
Albert Lin just exposed what's hidden beneath the Terracotta Army, and it's terrifying. This remarkable archaeological treasure consists of 8,000 warriors buried over 2,000 years ago, making it the largest burial complex in the world, covering an impressive 22 square miles. What makes this discovery more fascinating is a certain revelation that we'll find out as we journey on in this video. So keep your eyes glued to the very end to find out. What terrifying secrets lie beneath the Terracotta Army? Albert Lin, a National Geographic explorer known for his curiosity and quiet sense of wonder, found himself standing where very few people had ever been allowed to go. He had gained rare and remarkable access to the heart of one of China's most mysterious archaeological wonders. As he stood there, he reportedly said that it felt incredible to be in a place so few had ever stepped foot in, a place shrouded in secrets and silence. He described how it was almost unreal to stand inside a space that had been off limits to nearly everyone, a space that held stories of a world long gone but still whispering through clay, stone, and earth. One could almost imagine him looking around, taking it all in, and wondering how many eyes before his had witnessed such an extraordinary sight. His visit wasn't just a casual tour, it was an unprecedented exploration that brought him closer to the first emperor's tomb than most archaeologists would ever dare to approach. He explained that this was no ordinary resting place, but a realm frozen in time, a kingdom built for eternity. What looked like rows of lifeless clay soldiers were, in truth, echoes of a real army that once marched under the command of China's first emperor. Each warrior was sculpted with haunting precision, their faces eerily unique, as if their souls had been sealed in clay to serve him forever. But centuries later, modern explorer Albert Lin discovered something buried beneath them, something no one was prepared to see. Stay glued till the end, because what he uncovered is truly terrifying. Albert Lin noted that every terracotta soldier had its own unique face, each one sculpted with such care that it felt as if real soldiers had somehow been frozen in time. He was fascinated by this idea, the thought that the emperor believed his reign would continue beyond death, with an army forever ready to defend him. What kind of power, Lin wondered aloud, must the emperor have wielded to command such loyalty even after death? During his investigation, Lin made discoveries that added new layers to the story of ancient China. The more he saw, the more he realized that the history everyone thought they knew might not be the complete story. He observed details that painted a richer, more complex picture of the people who had built this massive underground world. There was a sense of reverence in his tone when he talked about it, as though he knew he was walking through a space meant only for gods and emperors. But one of the most astonishing moments of Lin's journey came when he decided to take his exploration to the skies. For the first time ever, he used drones to capture aerial footage above the restricted site. He said with clear excitement that nobody had ever been allowed to fly there before, making this an extraordinary moment not just for him, but for the world of archaeology as a whole. The images that came from those drones revealed something breathtaking. The true scale of the tomb. It was massive, far beyond what most people could imagine. The entire complex spanned nearly 98 square kilometers, about the size of Manhattan. Can anyone really imagine that? A single tomb stretching across the same area as one of the world's busiest cities? It sounded almost unbelievable. As Lin explained, the first emperor's actual burial mound lay beneath a massive earthen hill. Surrounding it were hundreds of pits, each filled with secrets that had been hidden for over 2,000 years. Archaeologists had already identified more than 600 pits and vaults across the site, and each one told a small part of a much larger story. During recent excavations, a massive 16-ton coffin had been unearthed. Inside it were incredible treasures, ancient weapons, armor, delicate jade pieces, golden and silver camels, cooking utensils, and even thousands of bronze coins. Every object seemed to reflect the emperor's belief that death was not the end, but simply another realm to rule. Lin marveled at how much thought and labor had gone into preparing one man for eternity. He seemed to be thinking, who were these people who built this? What drove them to create something so grand, so eternal? But not everything about this place was open to exploration. Lin revealed that the tomb was still heavily guarded by the modern Chinese military. He spoke about how sensitive the area remained, with top-secret military installations surrounding it even today. The army, he mentioned, was nervous about what his drones might capture. It was almost poetic, he observed, that the emperor who had once surrounded himself with an army for protection was still being guarded thousands of years later by soldiers of another kind. What might the emperor have thought, Lin mused, if he could see his tomb being watched over by the forces of a modern nation? Despite the growing list of discoveries, the most important chamber, the central tomb of the emperor himself, remains sealed. Scientists have chosen not to open it, and Lin explained why. He said that when archaeologists first uncovered the terracotta soldiers decades ago, they were shocked to find that the painted surfaces of the figures began to flake and fade almost instantly once exposed to air. Within minutes, the colors were gone, lost forever. That heartbreaking loss has made experts cautious. They now know that disturbing the tomb could destroy precious details that have survived untouched for over 2,000 years. Lin spoke with quiet respect about that decision, acknowledging how sometimes, in archaeology, patience is the greatest act of preservation. So there he stood, a lone explorer in one of the most restricted places on Earth, watching history breathe beneath layers of soil. He reflected on how incredible it was that something so ancient could still hold so many secrets. Nonetheless, scientists maintain there's still no real evidence connecting CERN to the Mandela effect. What most experts point to instead is something far more human, the way our minds sometimes trick us. They say our brains are masters at filling in the blanks, patching missing details with what we expect to see or remember. It's a comforting thought, isn't it? That maybe the world didn't glitch, maybe we did. But just as people began to settle into that explanation, one unexpected voice brought the theory roaring back into public conversation. Someone with enough influence to make millions question everything they thought they knew about reality. Stay right here, because in the next part, we're diving into how Joe Rogan, through his wildly popular podcast, became one of the biggest megaphones for the CERN Mandela effect theory, and why his take made even skeptics stop and listen. Why do the tomb's findings suggest a brutal legacy? Recent archaeological discoveries near the site of the Terracotta Army have opened a haunting new chapter in China's ancient history. Researchers working beneath those world-famous clay soldiers have stumbled upon findings that shed light on the darker side of Emperor Qin Shi Huang's reign. It seems that behind the grandeur of his legacy, the unification of China, the building of the Great Wall, and the creation of the Terracotta warriors, lay a story soaked in fear, violence, and ruthless control. People have always admired the emperor's vision and ambition, but now one can't help but wonder, at what cost did all that glory come? Archaeologists at the excavation site reported that they uncovered mass graves hidden beneath layers of soil around the emperor's vast mausoleum complex. Within these graves lay the remains of the very workers who built his grand resting place. Forensic examinations revealed that many of them did not die from natural causes. Instead, their skeletons bore chilling signs of execution-style killings. Some had evidence of decapitation, while others showed clear marks of violent injury. Experts suggested that these men were likely executed once their work was done, simply to ensure that no one would live to speak of the tomb's secrets or reveal the treasures buried within. The workers had given their lives to build something magnificent, yet they were discarded like broken tools when their usefulness had ended. Their bodies were hastily buried in unmarked pits that surrounded the main complex. It made researchers pause and ask, how could something so beautiful above ground rest upon so much pain and silence beneath it? But the discoveries did not end there. In a separate chamber close to the emperor's central tomb, a male skeleton was found with a bronze arrowhead lodged deep into the skull. That single piece of evidence told a story of betrayal and death. Archaeologists speculated that this man may have been one of Qin Shi Huang's own sons. Historical texts have long mentioned that several of the emperor's heirs mysteriously vanished during his reign, but no one ever knew exactly what happened to them. Now, with this find, the pieces begin to fit together. Could it be that the emperor ordered the death of his own child out of fear of losing power? It seems almost unthinkable, yet history often tells such cruel tales of kings who valued control above all else. The discovery echoed the written records that spoke of violent succession struggles within the royal family. If those accounts were true, then this single skeleton might belong to one of history's forgotten princes, silenced so that his father's rule could remain unchallenged. Even more unsettling were the discoveries of ancient bamboo scrolls hidden deep within sealed chambers close to the burial site. These scrolls, remarkably preserved through the centuries, contained records that read like the emperor's own confession to tyranny.
The fate of China came down to this one moment, the decision of who would take on the throne and follow in the first emperor's footsteps. And what these scrolls describe is that it was a coup.
The writings described the bloody purges he ordered across the empire. They spoke of how he targeted scholars who dared to question his authority or criticize his legalistic rule. These scholars, many of whom followed Confucian teachings, were viewed as threats to his power because they promoted ideas of morality, wisdom, and virtue, concepts that stood in contrast to Qin Shi Huang's harsh methods of control. The scrolls confirmed age-old stories that the emperor had indeed ordered the execution of hundreds of Confucian scholars, some 460 of them buried alive, and the burning of countless texts that challenged his political vision. Imagine that, centuries of wisdom and literature deliberately erased, not because they were wrong, but because one man feared the power of knowledge. Can anyone truly call that greatness? These revelations have forced historians to look at the Terracotta army in a new light. For generations, people have marveled at the thousands of life-sized clay soldiers guarding the emperor's tomb. They stand there silently, each with a distinct face, posture and armor, representing the power and unity of the first emperor's reign. But with these new findings, those same statues now seem to carry a different meaning. Could it be that they are not only symbols of loyalty and strength, but also silent witnesses to unimaginable cruelty? Beneath their feet lies a history written not in ink or stone, but in blood and fear. Archaeologists have continued to study the area with both awe and unease. Every new discovery adds another layer to the story, revealing just how far the emperor was willing to go to preserve his vision of immortality. Qin Shi Huang dreamed of ruling forever, even in death, but in his obsession, he left behind a legacy that speaks as much of suffering as it does of greatness. It makes one wonder, when we praise his achievements today, do we also acknowledge the lives that were destroyed to build them? Do we see the emperor as a visionary leader, or as a man consumed by his own hunger for power? In the end, these findings have changed the way historians, archaeologists, and the world view one of history's most extraordinary empires. The Terracotta army, once seen purely as a breathtaking artistic and engineering marvel, now also stands as a chilling reminder of what happens when ambition loses its humanity. Those silent warriors, frozen in eternal formation, no longer guard just the tomb of an emperor. They stand watch over centuries of ambition, blood, and untold mystery. Each sculpted face seems to carry a secret, a fragment of the truth that time itself has tried to bury. Their silence is almost haunting, as if they're waiting for someone brave enough to ask the questions they can no longer answer. Because beneath the stillness of the Terracotta army lies something far deeper than mere clay. It's a story of power, fear, and the price one man was willing to pay to become a god in his own time. And as you look closer, you can almost feel history holding its breath, guarding one final mystery that's never been solved, a secret sealed beneath layers of earth and legend. So stay with us till the very end, because what comes next might just change everything you thought you knew about China's first emperor and the empire he built. That brings us to the question that still stirs curiosity across the world. Will the emperor's tomb ever be opened? Will the emperor's tomb ever be opened? The question of whether Emperor Qin Shi Huang's actual tomb will ever be excavated has often been described as one of archaeology's greatest mysteries, and it continues to fascinate people all around the world. For years, archaeologists have worked tirelessly around the vast burial complex, carefully mapping and studying its surrounding structures, but the central burial chamber itself remains untouched. People often wonder why, after all this time, no one has dared to open it. Is it fear, respect, or something far more complex? The truth, as experts explain, is that it's a mixture of all these reasons. The tomb of China's first emperor isn't just a historical site, it's a delicate time capsule that science still struggles to protect. Researchers have admitted that even with all the technological progress of modern archaeology, the obstacles standing in their way are enormous. The biggest of these challenges, they said, is the mysterious mercury moat that ancient texts claim surrounds the emperor's resting place. Some scientific tests have even confirmed unusually high levels of mercury in the soil above the tomb, which suggests that those ancient records might be right. But how can anyone risk opening a tomb that could be filled with toxic vapor? If exposure to mercury could harm people today, imagine what it might do to fragile ancient artifacts. There's also the frightening possibility that the moment air touches what lies inside, everything could crumble to dust. The silk, the wooden objects, even the intricate decorations that have survived for more than 2,000 years could be lost forever in a matter of seconds. So how can anyone justify that risk just to satisfy curiosity? Because of these fears, many scientists and historians have supported China's decision to wait. The Chinese authorities, according to reports, have always taken a firm stance on the issue. They insist that preservation must come before discovery. The government believes that Emperor Qin Shi Huang's final resting place deserves not only scientific protection, but also deep cultural respect. After all, disturbing a tomb that was meant to be eternal could be seen as an act of great disrespect. Many archaeologists have also reminded people of other cases around the world where hurried excavations destroyed treasures that could never be recovered. They often ask, what good is a discovery if it comes at the cost of losing the very history it was meant to preserve? And yet, the curiosity refuses to fade. People keep wondering what could possibly be hidden inside. Are there mountains of gold? Are there perfectly preserved statues, rare scrolls, or weapons never seen before? Or could there be a truth so strange that it would change everything historians thought they knew about the first emperor and his empire? These questions linger in the minds of many, even as scientists continue to urge patience. In recent years, researchers have turned their attention toward less invasive methods of exploration. They say that with the right technology, they might one day be able to uncover the tomb's secrets without ever breaking its seal. Tools like ground-penetrating radar and 3D mapping have already revealed incredible details about the underground complex. Some scientists are even experimenting with computed tomography scanning, the same technology used in hospitals to see inside the human body. Others talk about robotic exploration, tiny machines that could enter through narrow spaces and transmit images back to researchers above ground. Could that be the key to solving this age-old mystery? Could technology finally let people see inside without actually touching anything? It's an exciting thought, and yet, for now, most experts agree that the time isn't right. They say that as long as the technology to preserve everything inside doesn't exist, the tomb should remain closed. Perhaps in a few decades, when new methods are developed, people will finally get to witness what lies beneath. Until then, Emperor Qin Shi Huang's tomb will remain one of the world's last great secrets, a silent reminder that sometimes patience is the greatest form of respect. After all, isn't it better to wait and preserve history than to rush and destroy it forever? With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.